Greetings everyone, this is Jed Schlackman. I'm a holistic therapist in Miami, Florida. In this video presentation, I will be discussing the topic of synchronicity. The word synchronicity was brought into the public sphere by the famous psychiatrist Carl Jung. Jung was initially a disciple of Sigmund Freud. However, his direction in the field of psychology went more in the metaphysical realm, and Jung dealt a lot with what we would call the unconscious and also the collective unconscious. So a field of consciousness where in a sense we're all connected. That's a spiritual concept, and it's one that's found in some manner in many different cultures. Jung had traveled around the world and explored many different spiritual traditions, many different occult sciences, things like alchemy and astrology, mediums, psychics, shamans, etc. So Jung was really looking into a deeper level of consciousness and how everything in some way is interconnected or part of a greater whole. And this idea of synchronicity, that we see coincidences that appear in some way meaningful or significant, that relates to that idea that everything is somehow part of a greater whole, and nothing is really separate from that whole. If we look at our lives, at the world around us, and see the way things are unfolding, we often do notice those types of meaningful coincidences, and they can involve a variety of things. Sometimes it has to do with numbers, with names or places, with songs we hear on the radio or things that appear on a TV show. And if we consider how we look at our life in terms of viewing things as positive or negative, we might consider that everything that's occurring, everything that's happening, is actually part of a greater plan of creation. Everything is there to help us evolve, to help us grow and expand our consciousness. So ultimately, everything is happening synchronistically, since everything is part of that universal consciousness, that universal field of information. When we see things that seem somehow meaningful, somehow important in how they're connected, it's kind of a nice reminder that there is a higher intelligence that has orchestrated the foundation of creation. There's an interesting website that some of you may want to visit by a man named Goro Adachi. That's Goro, G-O-R-O, Adachi, A-D-A-C-H-I. His website is goroadachi.com, and on that website he has a section which he's devoted to looking at meaningful patterns and interconnections with things happening in our civilization, also how that relates to celestial patterns, so the movement of the planets to different astronomical alignments. And there are particular archetypal themes that seem to unfold and that seem to repeat themselves here in our reality. This happens on a microcosmic and macrocosmic level, so we can see synchronicities in our own individual lives as well as in world events, things that are happening in the mass consciousness field. if we take a positive attitude about what's unfolding in our life, and if we start to look for or focus upon synchronicities, we tend to perceive them more. We become more conscious or aware of this larger intelligence that's at work. How there seems to be some higher aspect of consciousness that's orchestrating how life unfolds, how things seem to happen in this perfect synchronicity, each part of our life leading us forward, helping us grow and move to the next phase of our life, and so on. For us to understand how this is happening, it is helpful to look into theoretical physics, to look at concepts in metaphysics. In metaphysics, there are ideas which are known as universal laws or universal principles. One of those principles is the idea that one is all and all is one. That's one of the major Hermetic principles. From that principle, we see that there is one source, original consciousness, that has in an illusory manner fragmented itself, creating the appearance of all these separate identities, all these separate realities. However, all those seemingly separate aspects of existence are all part of that one unified whole. Therefore, whatever is happening to any one of those fragmented parts is affecting the whole, and anything that's occurring with the whole can affect each of those seemingly separate parts. Another key principle in metaphysics is the principle of attraction. We often hear the phrase, the law of attraction. This is a vibrational principle which says that like energy attracts like energy. So depending on what state of energy you are in, what state of consciousness you have brought yourself into, you will start to align with or attract with different patterns in your external environment. If we consider that idea, we can see how things may appear to be occurring synchronistically, because as we shift our energy, our vibrational state, as we transform ourselves, we'll have things appear externally that are in some way aligned with who we are, of what we have become. So the external reflects the internal. In the metaphysical terminology, it's said as within, so without, which goes along with the statement as above, so below. With those ideas in our consciousness, we can start to look at life in a different way. We can see that things really are meaningful and purposeful. If we have a physical condition, symptoms or illnesses, those have a meaning, a metaphorical reality to them as well. Rather than resisting or rejecting what's happening, we can try to understand it, to see what meaning or message is present in it. Many indigenous and traditional cultures have used methods to kind of identify the meaning that is being given to them by things in their external environment. There could be meaning attached to things that appear in nature. So the appearance of a certain type of animal may have a message for you. The appearance of numbers, the appearance of certain symbols, certain things that arise in our dream state. So there's whole dictionaries giving us the meaning of dream symbolism. We can look at all those things that are coming from that level of consciousness coming into our awareness to bring us some type of message or meaning. I hope this presentation has given you some interesting ideas, some things to ponder and think about more. What's really vital is to apply these things in our own life, to explore synchronicity as it's occurring in your own personal experience. The more you open up to it, the more you tend to notice it, and the more information or guidance you will tend to receive from those synchronicities. Since all is one, one is all of creation is part of a unified whole. Each individual reality is inseparable from a greater reality, from a larger whole. Therefore, everything fundamentally has to be synchronistic. I would like to wish every one of you a good day. Namaste. If you would like to explore more about topics of consciousness, spirituality, subtle energies, holistic healing, you may visit my website at www.phinsights.com. That's PHINSIGHTS.com.